USPAP, page 230, Competency Rule. Number 101, acquiring knowledge and experience to comply with the competency rule. Question: how does an appraiser gain the knowledge and experience required by the competency rule if he or she lacks the knowledge and experience to complete an assignment competently? Response: the competency rule requires an appraiser who lacks the knowledge and experience to complete an assignment competently to 1. Disclose the lack of knowledge and/or experience to the client before accepting the assignment. Or 2. Disclose the lack of knowledge and/or experience to the client during the assignment if discovered by the appraiser during the assignment. In either instance, the appraiser must then take all steps necessary to appropriately complete the assignment competently and document the steps in the appraisal report. An appraiser may gain the knowledge and experience required through any or all of the following: personal study by the appraiser, association with an appraiser reasonably believed to have the necessary knowledge or experience, or retention of others who possess the required knowledge or experience. In addition, the competency rule requires an appraiser to withdraw from the assignment if competency cannot be achieved prior to completion of the assignment. Refer to the competency rule for further guidance. Number 102, assignment conditions, scope of work acceptability, and geographic competency. Question: I am a residential appraiser performing work for several appraisal management companies. Often, I am asked to perform an appraisal assignment outside the areas I am most familiar with. The assignments come with a requirement that a completed report be submitted within 48 hours or less. This time frame does not permit me to adequately research the subject property market. Is it permissible for me to accept an assignment under these conditions? Response: the competency rule in USPAP requires an appraiser to notify the client that he or she does not have the necessary competency to complete an assignment prior to agreeing to perform an assignment. Because your statement in the question states that the time frame does not permit me to adequately research the subject property market, you have already made the determination that becoming geographically competent for this assignment is a concern. The client must be notified. Appropriate steps must be taken to become competent. And the lack of competency, plus the steps taken to become competent, must be disclosed in the appraisal report. If an appraiser is not in a position to spend the necessary time in a market area to attain geographic competency, affiliation with a qualified local appraiser may be an appropriate response to ensure development of credible assignment results. Alternatively, the appraiser must decline the assignment. This situation is also addressed by the scope of work rule in USPAP. For each appraisal and appraisal review assignment, an appraiser must Number 1, identify the problem to be solved. Number 2, determine and perform the scope of work necessary to develop credible assignment results. And number 3, disclose the scope of work in the report. Bold added for emphasis. Page 231. Scope of work is defined as the type and extent of research and analysis in an assignment. If you know that the required time frame does not permit you to adequately research the subject property market in order to complete the scope of work necessary to develop credible assignment results, you should decline the assignment. In some situations, you may initially believe that you can complete the scope of work necessary to develop credible assignment results, but subsequently determine you are unable to do so and still comply with the specific time frame. This circumstance is specifically covered in the scope of work acceptability section of the scope of work rule. An appraiser must not allow assignment conditions to limit the scope of work to such a degree that the assignment results are not credible in the context of the intended use. Comment. If relevant information is not available because of assignment conditions that limit research opportunities, such as conditions that place limitations on inspection or information gathering, an appraiser must withdraw from the assignment unless the appraiser can modify the assignment conditions to expand the scope of work to include gathering the information, or use an extraordinary assumption about such information if credible assignment results can still be developed. Number 103, continuing education courses. Question. Does USPAP require appraisers to take continuing education courses? Response: not directly. However, it is implied in the development standards. For example, Standards Rule 1-1A states the following. In developing a real property appraisal, an appraiser must A. Be aware of, understand, and correctly employ those recognized methods and techniques that are necessary to produce a credible appraisal. Comment. This standards rule recognizes that the principle of change continues to affect the manner in which appraisers perform appraisal services. Changes and developments in the real estate field have a substantial impact on the appraisal profession. Important changes in the cost and manner of constructing and marketing commercial, industrial, and residential real estate, as well as changes in the legal framework in which real property rights and interests are created, conveyed, and mortgaged, have resulted in corresponding changes in appraisal theory and practice. Social change has also had an effect on appraisal theory and practice. To keep abreast of these changes and developments, the appraisal profession is constantly reviewing and revising appraisal methods and techniques, and devising new methods and techniques to meet new circumstances. For this reason, it is not sufficient for appraisers to simply maintain the skills and the knowledge they possess when they become appraisers. Each appraiser must continuously improve his or her skills to remain proficient in real property appraisal. Bold added for emphasis. The last sentence of the comment to SR 1-1A clearly indicates that appraisers must continuously improve their knowledge and skills. Therefore, some form of continuing education is required, although not explicitly stated in the USPAP document.